So thanks everyone for joining us by live stream. We've got Gary and Grace are here in person, and myself as technical support, and Lisa will be presenting. So welcome to the first Sheridan Unitarian Universalist Fellowship live stream. All right, that's how people on YouTube talk. Okay. So if you look, oh, I see now comments are starting to roll in. That's very exciting. I'll be looking at those comments, and we'll be reading joys and concerns after the lighting of the chalice. So just to let anyone know who just joined the stream, if you're watching, you can add comments by clicking on the live comment section. There's a few little dots. If you don't see where to type right away, you can click on those dots and choose a pop out, or I just felt a text come in. You can text me joys and concerns. Awesome, thanks. Matt just let me know they're watching from home. And if you notice there's, if you notice anything, you want to let me know. There at the top of the comments, you'll see my number. Feel free to text me, or you can leave a comment along the live stream, and we should be able to keep an eye on those too. Okay, sorry if there's rough edges today, but this is what we're figuring out. We're thinking that it might be weeks, who knows how long, until we're all able to get together again. So we're glad to just be able to jump in, try this new format, and hopefully it'll be a way for us to feel like we're still getting together, even if it's through digital bits being flung back and forth across communication lines. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to take a look at this is where maybe Grace, I can trade your computer so I can see announcements on your computer. All right. Announcements. I've got Charlotte Velasquez saying hi from Buffalo. Cameo's giving a smile. Victor is saying we're not sure about the sound quality. So I'm not sure if that's is that partly the music, Victor? Can you hear at least our voices? So just let us know specifically what it is. I'll keep working on the technical aspect and see if there's a way. Okay, I'm hearing that it's good. That at least our voice audio is good. As far as music goes, I'll dig into that over the course of the next week, because I think there's another level. Okay, there's another level to get sounds for some music sounding better, and so I'll work on that. Great. Okay, so far I'm seeing just one concern, and we'll start sharing those after we do our chalice lighting. If there aren't any announcements, I guess we'll just get our official ball rolling. Okay. Do you have an announcement?
No, she's going to do.
Okay, she's going to do the opening reading. We'll make this happen. Here we go. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Grace Cannon for our opening reading.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So I have a opening reading. Some of you may have seen it online. That's where I came across it this week. The title is Pandemic. It's written by Reverend Lynn Unger. What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel, cease from buying and selling. Give up, just for now, on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing, pray, touch only those to whom you commit your life, center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has come clear. Do not reach out your hands, reach out your heart, reach out your words, reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live. I'll hand it off to Lisa. Thank you.
Thank you. I love that. I think we can look at this as embracing change and looking what staying home and looking in can do for all of us. So I appreciate that. That was beautiful. Now we will do the cellist lighting. We light this chalice to affirm that new light is ever waiting, to break through, to enlighten our ways. That new truth is ever waiting to break through, to illuminate our minds. And that new love is ever waiting to break through, to warm our hearts. May we be open to this light and to the rich possibilities that it brings us. So if there's any joys and concerns, please send your comments forward.
I'll start with oh, yeah, we should use our microphone. I'll start with a concern. I never do concerns. That tells you what kind of week it's been. Just for all my students and the different directions that stress might be affecting their lives. So. Maybe we can just take turns.
Sure.
Do you have one?
Well, and to represent Susan's concern.
Okay.
Let's see. I will. I just want to see. So just, I think people can probably see it if they're on a live stream, but Sue Roberts, you wrote, concern for people we rely on in essential positions, whether it be healthcare workers, teachers, law enforcement, transportation. I light a candle.
I'd like to add one for the elderly too, because they probably will be suffering and immunodepressed most through this.
I'll light a candle. I'll jump in with a joy, just since I want to balance out a little bit. Maybe I'll offer a couple too, and I'll light a candle for being able to be involved with this. It's been lovely over the last couple months to join in and come to UU services, and so I'm happy to be able to help out in any way that I can. And related to that, a joy for finding creative ways to stay connected. The idea of social distancing feels sort of risky in and of itself, even though it's something we need to keep us safe. And so I just love seeing the ways that people are creative in reaching out to each other and staying connected.
I've got one more here.
Okay.
Cameo has a joy / concern for equanimity, and I will admit I had to look that word up to be like, wait, what? And it's mental or emotional stability and composure, especially under tension or strain. It's a calmness and an equilibrium.
One more candle for all joys and concerns unspoken. So now we'll move forward with a story for all ages. And I think all of you know this story well, but it applies to our subject today of truth. The Boy Who Cried Wolf, attributed to Aesop, 620 to 564 BC. A shepherd boy watching a flock of sheep near his village grew lonely. He devised a way to get some attention and companionship by playing a trick on the villagers. One morning he yelled, "Wolf, wolf!" When his neighbors ran to help save their flock and livelihood, they found the sheep placidly cropping grass. The boy laughed and laughed. The villagers were very angry at the boy and warned him not to call them if there was no danger. And yet the next day he did it again. "Wolf, wolf!" he shouted. The villagers came running, and when they found the boy had tricked them again, they were even angrier than the day before. Warning him not to lie again, they went back to their work. The next day, as the shepherd boy lay watching the sheep on a hillside, a wolf came out of the woods. The boy shouted in terror, "Help me! The wolf is killing the sheep!" But no one paid any attention to his cries, and no villager came to help. The wolf destroyed the whole flock. The moral of the story is, there is no believing a liar, even when he speaks the truth. We could do a reflective silence on that, but I will be moving into reflective silence. In Heaven by Reverend Mark Bellatini. It's true. When our ancestors spoke of heaven, they were speaking of this moment. When they went on about nirvana, they imagined a time like this. When they sang of paradise, it was this morning they imagined. A time when all the mysteries of life and death are blended in a community of praise, when the bones of ancient lovers are given flesh again in their own bodies. Teachers of long ago speaking of love and truth, once more in ways so ordinary they are extraordinary. Blessed is our breath, in and out, quiet. Blessed is our sitting, our fidgeting, our movement. Blessed is our heartbeat, echoing the pounding alleluias of the distant stars. Blessed is the silence that is presence, not absence. So now we will sing.
Oh, we're going to
Spirit
sing.
of
Oh,
Life.
that's okay.
Of course I wanted you here. So if you guys want to come up.
Sure. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Thank you. I knew I wouldn't have been able to carry that.
We're all good. We're good.
So now we're on to our main reading already. And this is an excerpt from Ira Buck, titled Honesty and Truth. I added some things on the end, so this is just partially hers, and I'll let you know when I am no longer reading her excerpts. One of our UU principles is to affirm and promote a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. As such, we identify ourselves as seekers of truth. If we would seek the truth, we must speak the truth. Truth comes at several levels. The framework I'm going to share with you is from a book called Radical Honesty: How to Transform Your Life by Telling the Truth by Brad Blankton. He says many things I agree with, and quite a few I don't. I recommend the book to you not for your acceptance of what he says, but because it will likely stimulate your thinking on this subject. Level 1, Blankton calls factual truth. This includes not telling falsehoods and not withholding the truth. Classic here is the time-honored, or time-worn, depending on your perspective, story of the honesty of George Washington, when he said, "I cannot tell a lie. I chopped down the cherry tree." He did not name someone else as the culprit, and he did not ask for the definition of chop. Level 2, honesty about current thoughts and feelings. The second level of honesty is honesty about current thoughts and feelings. For many of us, the hard work here begins with being honest with ourselves about our feelings and thoughts. Most of us have pretty strong programming about what thoughts and feelings we should have. And anything that doesn't fit in that both gets pushed aside. Out of that box gets pushed aside. Many of us are constantly expending tremendous amounts of energy keeping stuff pushed away. Communicating thoughts and feelings to others in a way that is truth-telling rather than manipulation requires considerable skill. Skills are developed through practice, like the practice of mindfulness and meditation. The process of emptying the mind and then acknowledging whatever thoughts or feelings come through without judgment or analysis can be invaluable. Level 3, Blankton calls exposing the fiction. At this level, telling the truth and living the truth become the same thing. At this level, the Hindus say, if you speak the truth long enough, your word becomes universal law. At this level, we dispose of the illusions of ourself we have spent so much time constructing and maintaining. We admit our ignorance and our abilities. We admit our confusion. When we admit our fears about not having it quite right. In the Buddhist tradition, this is being fully present in the moment and accepting what is. Those 3 levels are summarized as the physical truth, the emotional truth, and the spiritual truth, parentheses, enlightenment, salvation. The only ones who function at level 3 continually are folks like Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, the Dalai Lama, Rumi, and some gurus in India maybe. As with so many things, this is not a linear progression. We are all at different stages of development at all levels. If we disregard physical truth, we cannot be truly committed to emotional or spiritual truth. How many enlightened liars do you know? There are some short-term benefits to honesty that make it easier to incorporate into our lives. Physical truth-telling simplifies our lives immeasurably. We don't have to keep up with both the facts and the fabrication we built, which have a troublesome way of running together over time. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when we first practice to deceive. Honesty is a great detangler. We don't have the stress of worrying that our deception will be discovered. Anyone interested in stress reduction? I recommend honesty. Emotional truth, telling to ourselves and others, allows us to experience unconditional love. I don't have any doubts about the depth of the love I receive because it continues to rain down on me even when I'm petty or angry or illogical. We don't have to protect and maintain some image of ourselves that the people around us love when they have access to the real thing. When we know one another's true selves during the good, the bad, and the ugly, we discover an intimacy that fills our souls. In our convent groups, the check-in is a brief, honest expression of who we are in the moment, and I think is an essential aspect of the powerful connections we make in these groups. Spiritual truth telling lets us connect with the divine in ourselves and others. It allows us to experience a oneness in the moment and to change and grow without clinging to images of ourselves that were true only. Withholding the truth is potentially a lie. Blanton, who had the levels I just quoted, sees withholding truth as the same as a lie. Peck sees some circumstances where it may be justified or even necessary. However, they are few and far between. He goes on to say, don't withhold truth based on your personal needs, need for power, need to be liked, etc. The decision to withhold truth must be based on the needs of the person from whom the truth is being withheld. And the examples he uses are parents withholding information from children that are not developmentally able to process. It's really easy to get into quicksand with this, however. Only withhold the truth from someone you genuinely love. Without love, you cannot make a decision about someone else's needs. The key consideration in withholding truth is an assessment of the other person's ability to use the truth for their spiritual growth. Peck notes that we almost always underestimate other people's capacity to use the truth for growth. There was no justification for withholding truth because it might hurt someone else's feelings in Blanton's take on things. Utilizing truth for spiritual growth is many times not painless. What I derived from that was something in my addictions work, kind of correlated with the 12 steps. In step 9, the discernment comes here on telling the truth or not is, well, the 9th step is make direct amends to people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure themselves or others. So I really like that. You have to use your own discernment, and like Blanton says, they have bigger shoulders than you might think. And then another favorite teacher of mine, Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the 4 Agreements, states that the first agreement, to be impeccable with your word, is the most important rule and also the most hard to honor. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word and never use it against yourself or others. What does impeccable mean? In this context, it comes from a Latin word that means without sin. Being impeccable with your internal language means not judging or blaming yourself. Simply having those thoughts means you're sinning against yourself. You need to change this and start telling yourself how great you actually are and giving yourself the same TLC as you give others. A key point is that we should remember is the words we choose to use are powerful. They can liberate or enslave you or others. How many times have you told yourself or no good at something? Whenever you hear an opinion and choose to stick by it, you're making an agreement and it becomes a part of our belief system. Your words transform the way you think. and affect the opinions of others, so choose them wisely. In summary, if we are serious about searching for truth, we must search it out at every level, every day, every moment. It's hard work. The benefits are being truly alive, having meaningful relationships, personal growth and development, freedom from the fear of being found out, factually, emotionally, and spiritually. Oh yeah, and there's the occasional ecstasy of enlightenment if you're lucky. Let our community be a safe practice ground for this work. Should I withhold the music? Okay. I'm going to withhold the music because it's not coming across well. And I believe.
Uh-oh. We just got things of videos frozen. Let me do something.
So we can't do an offering, so I'll just, do you want to read the closing words, Ian?
Yeah, I want to make sure that the feed's running because somebody just jumped in and said that maybe it froze.
I wonder if it was at the beginning of
So-
the talk or the end.
I think it just came through, so I'm not sure. I'm going to try refreshing the feed. I was on Wi-Fi and I'm going to plug into Ethernet, which I should have done. It occasionally does it. Okay,
Do you know if it's
here.
still froze or not?
Refreshing word. Oh, oops. Let me know if the feed is working. I think it's working. So,
Want to go read the closing words then?
working. Yeah, I'll read the closing words. And I just wanted to say, feel free to type in comments and questions like we normally have with discussion about the talk. And what we can do is I'll read those comments and questions out loud to Lisa, and then she can respond to them almost like normal. Okay. We'll try. That's the.
Or do we do closing words after discussion?
Do we do closing words after discussion? How about?
I'm not sure. I think, actually, let me.
How about, I think we do closing words first, and then discussion, and then we extinguish our chalice? Okay.
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
These closing words are from Reverend Leslie Takahashi. They teach us to read in black and white. Truth is this, the rest is false. You are whole or broken. Who you love is acceptable or not. Life tells us its truth in many hues. We are taught to think in either or, to believe the teachings of Jesus or Buddha, to believe in human potential or a power beyond a single will. I am broken or I am powerful. Life embraces multiple truths, speaks of both and of and. We are taught to see in absolutes good versus evil, male versus female, old versus young, gay versus straight. Let us see the fractions, the spectrum, the margins. Let us open our hearts to the complexity of our worlds. Let us make our lives sanctuaries to nurture our many identities. The day is coming when all will know that the rainbow world is more gorgeous than the monochrome, that a river of identities can ebb and flow over the static, stubborn rocks in its course, that the margins hold the center. Nice. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Feel free to share comments, questions, and I'll gladly read them out and Lisa can respond. Let's see if anything rolls in here. My own comment or question would be that I really like that idea of that there's like layers of truth, because I feel like we've all experienced those moments where we don't want to say something, it might be true, but we love a person and we don't want to trouble their hearts, so we keep some information to ourselves, and maybe it's not the right time. But I like that idea that there's simple factual truth, there's emotional truth, and then there's this higher sort of universal or cosmic truth. And yeah, I just really appreciate your talk. It's timely too. So, oh, that's funny. Joe Andrews also says, Lisa, your message is very timely. So I agree with you, Joe. Yeah, well, maybe that's a question like about the timeliness of this.
Well, I think when we wonder what truth is, I think sometimes times like this, when it forces us to be home, we learn, it kind of can push us out of our physical heads and our physical truths to looking deep. And I think that's what the writer of that talk, I forgot her name. Arab Buck alluded to, that higher level is when you look in, quiet your mind, and know the truth. And I think when Grace read Pandemic, this can be a time when we actually shift out of our heads and our do and kind of look in and honor that quiet inside part of us where we can learn to not always trust our thoughts, but something deeper and bigger in us. So.
I was going to say that I like the spiritual truth aspect of your discussion, although the whole thing was good, but I like the spiritual aspect of it. That's how I ended up in UU, actually, was at one point in my life during some outpatient recovery from alcoholism, I was challenged to explore my spirituality. And so I really started from ground zero with trying to be no previous biases. And so I was just had to go with what I really felt was true. And so that led me to UU, AA, Rainbow Family, and I don't know, a couple other things I can't even think of right now. But I have to be honest with myself on that path, on that level of what I really do believe. But it kind of makes me wonder about other people and their spirituality. If say they were raised in a certain religion, tradition, and they really believe in what their tradition is, or they may believe in it. And so that's okay for them. I mean, that would be the right thing for them. And I guess I need to realize that and honor their belief, and hopefully their following belief. I guess you never. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for mentioning the spiritual honesty side of your talk.
And I think I like the fact that they divided into those three, because I think for so many people, just because they have a belief, they hold that as truth. And they do that. Some people do that their whole lives. This is what our family did. This is what I can look at my parents. This is what our family does. We are Lutheran. We do this. This is how we believe. And I'm kind of going, am I still family? So, you just kind of, to go to that next level from, yes, that is their belief and their truth, which is that emotional thinking level, and to go deeper and just honor that they are, I love what you said, doing their best spiritually to be good people. Look at them with unconditional love. So.
Bill says that he likes the tie-in with the first agreement and the ninth step. He says sometimes the truth can hurt.
Boy, Bill, I really, really agree with you that the truth hurts. But I think in the long run, and I think Era Buck alluded to this too, or maybe it was her quote from Blanton, that once you know the truth, there's something that just resonates, even though it's hard. I think that's really what allows us to grow beyond our stuck beliefs. So the truth can be painful, but it also is usually a spur for personal and spiritual growth. Better than just holding a lie and living a lie your life. So.
I feel like I've had the personal experience of like knowing there's some truth that needs to be faced, and not feeling like I have the strength or courage to face it. And then it's sort of like a paradigm shift once I own that first plunge, is a hard thing to do. But then from that point on, it opens up a lot of life, and a lot of energy comes back. So that initial hill to get over then results in a whole new world of life and energy.
I love that comment on paradigm shift, and I wholeheartedly believe that. There's a favorite line of mine that says, "Who you think you are is a belief to be undone." And once you really question that, or do a paradigm shift or a spiritual awakening, you are never that person you thought you were. It is a different level. So is there any other comments? All right. Well, thank you for joining us today. We will be probably meeting next week via webcast again, and we're open to any feedback on how to even make this better. Thank you. Thank you, Ian, so much for your time and effort to make this happen.
And I have
we
need to do our closing. So just one comment that kind of tacks onto that is, I know that Mitch Kraft had really been looking forward to giving a talk next week, and he's been writing his own talk, and he feels like he would much rather hold on to that talk until a lot of these virus issues have passed and we're able to be together in person, and I totally respect that. So He's going to hold on to his talk until a future date when we can all be back together and we can have a livelier conversation. That being said, we'll work out who might present, maybe a pre-written talk next week, but we'll plan to have something next week. I'll work on figuring out how to encode music into the feed so that that's smoother and the sound's better. I will remember to actually plug in my computer to the Ethernet instead of just counting on the Wi-Fi. Sorry about that. There was I don't want to count how many cords I have plugged into different things. It's simple, but then it sort of complicates itself. Yeah, but thank you all so much for joining us. There are, I don't know if you've seen the number, but it looks like there's at least 20, more than 20 of us. And Bernie sent this to a friend in Gillette, and we have people from all over watching. So it's really great to get together and have a sense of community, even if we're all in separate spots. So we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth. The warmth of community or the fire of commitment, these we hold in our hearts until we are together again. Great. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Feel free, I'll leave the stream running. Feel free to hang out and chat with each other in that chat bar. That's totally acceptable to do that. I won't cancel it.
Can we get coffee through the chat bar?
Coffee's going to be hard. I'll work with Matt on digitizing the coffee so we can digitally send coffee to each other. Oh, and this talk should be able to just go onto YouTube as a video. I think that works relatively seamlessly. And so that should be the case with however many weeks we need to do this. So if somebody missed it and they're like, oh, I'm sad I missed it, you can direct them to the video itself, and we'll work with each other on how that should all play out. Okay, thanks, everybody. Great. All right. Cool.
There.
Yeah, I think we're good. I'm just going to leave all this plugged in right here like it is. It just came through on an email. Are you off the list?
I think you have to end stream. Are you done?
So how
I was
can-
going to leave it running in case anybody wanted to chat, although they're probably dropping. They're dropping.
I think they can chat and
Can they continue to chat?
that just like
Stream?
cuts
A
the.
week or two ago that a lot of the emails were going to spam. Yeah, so you actually had to go and unspam it later. And then
Spam folder for
so for some reason, most of the congregation's emails started going to spam. So they had to, you have to.
It's fine. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here, Gary.
Well, yeah, you were, it's nice to have participants.
At least
you know?
some sense of life.
I'll have to deal with it.
Oh my goodness, Ian, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I would have begged it because I'm not a technical person, you know?
So what platform did you
Just
use?
YouTube.
YouTube?
Yeah, and I'm
And you
glad
can
that
do
I got.
YouTube Live?
You can do YouTube Live, and I'm glad that I jumped on it right away. Friday night, the board was discussing we're going to just go ahead and cancel, and I was like, I'll set up a live stream, and I jumped on it right then because it takes 24 hours for YouTube to kind of like look through your credentials, let
Oh, wow.
the robot overlords process your
Yeah,
account to be like, make
So
sure
you wouldn't
you're.
have been able to do this.
If I
you
thought
would
I
have done-
could waltz in the morning and set it up, no, so
You'd have been goofed
I
out.
would have been goofed up, yeah, so.
I am just so thrilled. Again, this
It's
is
fun.
something that
It's
I
fun. I
wouldn't
I
have.
knew you could do YouTube Live.
Yeah,
So
that's
when
cool.
you said it would be recorded,
I
I was
think
wondering how.
it's also recorded, yeah, so, but again, this is my first stream, so.
And I thought maybe we'd have a
Hi,
handful of people,
everybody.
but to do
What was it?
20,
plus?
yeah.
There, it looked at the peak number I saw was 24. Now that's including I think that includes me as one and Grace's computer as one.
And mine probably.
Were you on the stream too?
I don't know.
No, so it would have been.
What's
But 22 of us, I think. Yeah. So that's great.
Not bad.
And so what's it under? You, Sheridan UU?
Yeah, I